Okay.
Because
Ready?
that's the fun, that we're actually networking and stuff behind the scenes, which is fantastic. So, well, hello, and welcome to Intercultural Spark, the show about the spark inside you that drives you to spark change in the world through your business life projects. I'm your host, Deanna Schaas, here to bring you inspiration how you too can make a difference in the world. So our topic today is the new age of internships. It's no longer about like grunt work and getting coffee. It's really an intergenerational two-way street where interns and bosses learn from each other. So our guests today are Lynn Hazan. She is the award-winning founder of Lynn Hazan and Associates Recruiting. Two of her seven interns are on the show today. We have Fiona Noonan, who hails from Seattle and is a marketing and PR in college for marketing PR right now. And Lily Lowndes is a junior at Depaul University, where she is studying advertising and PR and also journalism. And then I'm also really excited to be joined by one of my past interns, Sid Khaitan, who is a self-proclaimed strategy wonk by day, but a side hustler during the evenings and mornings. So welcome to Intercultural Spark. Hi, welcome.
Good morning.
Good to see you. And I'm so excited. Look at this. So 15 minutes earlier, Pamela Binda was here. So excited to watch the intern. It looks like she was one of your past interns, Lynn. And Mana is here as well. So excited for this discussion. And please, for everyone watching live, we love when you say hello. And of course, you can ask questions and leave comments in the comments wherever you're watching, because we are live right now on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So thank you all so much for being here. And I think we'll start with, like, why even have interns in the first place? I know I've long done it, especially working for other organizations. Sometimes within my own company as well. But Lynn, you have a really structured program. Can you just tell us why it's worthwhile to you to have interns in the first place?
I'm passionately committed to helping the next generation of talent get their foot in the door. And one of the best ways to do it is to expose them to what we do day in and day out. We're recruiters in communications and marketing. And what's great about our interns is that they get a chance to experience what it's like to work in recruiting, communications, marketing, advertising, digital, and all the verticals that we work in. They get a taste. It could be healthcare, it could be technology, it could be interactive. And so by literally having hands-on experience, they say, "Oh, I like this. I want more of this kind of experience." And it's also door opening experience, because then we place them with some of our clients in real jobs as well. So they get great career building experience that they can add not only to their portfolios and to their resumes.
Hi, Mandy. So another intern. Sounds like, how many interns have you had over the years? Because we've got 2 on screen. You've got 7 currently, and at least 2 who have checked in previously. So how many interns have you had?
Probably close to 100 over the years, literally from all over the world. China, Taiwan, the Czech Republic, Spain, Italy, Mexico, Sweden, Uzbekistan, literally from all over.
And that's phenomenal.
The global contributions that they have made as well.
Well, what I find interesting is, in the olden days, I know I worked I supervised the McDonald's owner, the McDonald's account for a PR agency. And when we had interns, it was often it was stuffing envelopes. It was things that you got the exposure by being in the environment. And what we wanted to talk about is sort of the new age of internships, because Lynn and I, if I may say it, are both non-digital natives, but we both work and use tech in the work that we do. So it seems like it's more of a two-way street where people are really contributing real things. And I know, Lily, you're writing Lynn's intern manual right now. Sid, you taught me Instagram. But now I want to hear, we've talked about why we're so altruistic, why we want to help, the younger generation. Tell us the real scoop, though. Fiona, maybe we'll start with you. What are you doing that you feel like you're actually making a difference in Lynn's business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say for me, I've been with Lynn now for 7 months. I'm the longest sitting intern currently. And really, through the past 7 months, I've experienced what I call an evolutionary process. So, really changing and adapting to the fully remote work environment and learning from each other. And I really think that's the beauty of this intergenerational collaborative work environment, is that I feel like my perspective is being valued. I know you mentioned previously interns often, getting coffee, stuff, envelopes, kind of the more mundane work. But that's nothing like what we do with Lynn. So I'm very pleased to be able to contribute and learn from her. The origin of our story, really how I met Lynn, was she gave a presentation at one of my classes in this past fall, Professor Julie Ferguson at Depaul University. And she gave a presentation on resumes and interview skills. And right after the presentation, I reached out to Lynn. I said, this woman really knows her stuff and her insights are very valuable. And I would love to be a part of this team and learn from her and contribute as best I can.
Mm-hmm. And Sid, is that looks like one of your relatives has joined us, I'm guessing, unless that's just a complete accident of the same last name.
No, that's my mom. Hi, Mom. I didn't know she was going to be joining today, but that's great.
That's so wonderful. So what would you like to tell your mom? What would make your mom proud about internship work or how that led to where you are now? I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah, right. I think my mom would appreciate just the serendipity, and Deanna, we talk about this all the time, but in terms of, and similar to Fiona's story, I kind of just stumbled upon our internship and we created it together, right? I think Deanna was presenting at a seminar, just talking about her passion for marketing and the agency world and how she created Intercultural Talk. And I kind of just stumbled my way into that seminar. I was looking for a job, was applying online and didn't really like kind of spray and pray and hoping that 100 different applications would get somewhere. So instead I decided to make relationships. And I think Deanna helped me understand not only my passion for writing and for the freelance world, but also just how to learn some of this stuff, right? Whether it's Instagram and creating the right kind of learning process and co-creating with our clients. I think that was a really fun journey that I was lucky to be exposed to so early on in my career.
Mm-hmm. What I found fascinating, so Sid just recently started this. It's called Logs by Cabin on Substack. It's a weekly newsletter and article where you really now have said, I'm not gonna sort of be fake anymore. I'm just gonna really tell it like it is. And one of the first stories he said, which is right about the time that we were all connecting again, Sid tells the story about how the only reason he was at the event where I spoke, which was at Depaul, Lynn, where I know you're,
there you go.
Yeah, the head of the panel, the marketing panel there, where he was like, yeah, because there was going to be free food, and and then also I think you were like I'm going to say, because I think that I read this, like your grades were tanking, like you were having a hard time, and what's so funny is how interns, like when you come and you put your best self forward, I saw a completely different thing. I saw this person who was like really ambitious and wanted to get ahead, and you were working on some kind of big marketing project, like a contest that in my version, you won the contest. So it was fun for me then to all of a sudden see this other side of it, because that wasn't the impression that I got as you were bringing so much to the table, with the work that we were doing together. So. Lily, what about Lily? You're, like you said, you're writing the manual, and I want to show this, Lily. Just when we look at how interns are different today than before, Lily actually has her own website, which I can't even imagine in the days. But talk about that. Like, what is your vision for how internships and this kind of marketing helps you with what you want to do next after college? I love that line.
Thanks for the quick website plug. Check out different projects that I've done on there. I'm sure that there's some stuff that I've done for Lynn that I've posted. But one of the things that Fiona mentioned was collaboration. And I think that that's definitely one of like the key words for this year in terms of working with Lynn and Fiona and all of the other interns at LH&A. It's not a super rigid thing. Just like Sid said, you can kind of plan out what you want to do. Lynn has been so gracious in letting us explore the different facets that we want to pursue. So I've been working on developing her website and the intern manual. So it's just kind of broader areas that we get to focus on key sections of and just give our own ideas, which Lynn lets us do, which is so amazing.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm curious what you said. One thing, Lily, you said, and Lynn, I don't know if this is true for you. There's that as the bosses, at least in the olden days, it was always like, well, I'm supposed to be the boss, so let me just pretend that I know everything we're supposed to do. And so much has changed with technology that oftentimes, and maybe this has happened with each of you, you could each share something where you have an idea that we as the bosses may not have seen. And we're like, okay, we can try it. You know, Lynn, is there something that happened like that for you where it was intern driven and you were like, oh, let's do it?
Are you asking me or Lily?
I am actually, this is where I put this up because I do this all the time where it's like, is there a question in there? I was asking you both at the same time, which was really ineffective. I think what I want to know from all of you, I'll start with Lynn. Is there something that an intern said, hey, that one of your interns said, hey, let's try this, that now changed how you worked? And then I'll ask the three of you, like something you brought to the table that changed the company.
Well, that's a perfect example of the contributions that interns have made consistently. Each person comes in, like I'm too close to my own website, for example. And so each intern says, Lynn, can I fix this piece? Can I do this? Can I do that? Or Lily said, I want to redo the website. Sure, go for it. I'm very eager to hear about your ideas. And then it was also Lily who said, we can click on pictures and visuals, and that way you can actually see the words of the job description behind it. So we want to make our visuals very interactive. So not only does Lily come up with a suggestion, that she comes up then with the content on how to do it. And that becomes part of the manual. So we're continuously training the current generation of interns and the generations who follow, because it's very important to get the knowledge transfer done. And the problem with corporate America is so many people leave their jobs, and what happens to all the information that's in their head? It goes with them to the next job, and it doesn't stay behind at the company to enrich the protocol of how we do things. So I'm eternally grateful. One of our interns said, Lynn, why don't we come up with a LinkedIn group for our alumni? Great, let's do it. So we just put that up yesterday. So each intern has said, I have an idea. And
actually, you have a whole bunch of your alumni here. So if everyone knows that, what did they just search? Do they go to your company page on LinkedIn to find the group?
Oh, well, we just posted this literally 2 days ago. So
okay.
We've been inviting our past interns to join our LinkedIn alumni group.
So let's see, we got Kelsey, we've got who else? I've seen at least Kelsey, Mandy, Deborah, Pamela. So all of you are being invited firsthand right here. So that's cool. And that's a great idea. And especially that really focuses on the trends nowadays, which it's all about everything's about social sharing, which begs the question, things have changed so much. Like in terms of the job market, it's so different now than it was before. Fiona, what do you see as different in the job market now, and how do internships play into that?
Yeah, so one of my main responsibilities through the course of the internship has been producing the weekly newsletter, which you can read on our website if you want to. And part of the newsletter each week is putting up the job specs. So the descriptions, we make a visual that hopefully draws people in to learn more about what types of skills and what types of tools are necessary to be an ideal candidate for the job. So in that process, writing content for the newsletter, I've learned what type of skills are valued most and what type of jobs are really hot right now. Medical writing obviously is a huge market, and graphic designers, that's another job that we're currently posting. So it's been really a privilege to get an inside look on what is being really valued and what types of individuals are succeeding in these fields.
And if I can also add, one of the contributions that Fiona has given is that she not only does the newsletter, now she's teaching the other interns. So it's knowledge transfer to every person on the team. Very important.
Yeah, it's really an honor to be able to kind of guide the next generation of interns and teach them things that I wish I knew when I was starting out, and kind of help them through the process and refine it together. And that's what I really love. You mentioned collaboration is such a huge part of the work we do. And I'm really thankful that that's the environment that we're all part of. So.
Oh, look at Lynn posting in real time. Here's Lynn's alumni group. I'll leave that up for a second for people to get it. Fiona, you're talking about like how you're teaching the next level of interns. I wonder, so Sid is a few years out. Sid, when did you graduate from Depaul?
Oh gosh, I think it was 2016, probably like a year after you and I had started interning and even doing some freelance. And some of the kind of conversation that I resonated with a lot is I actually hired my first intern over this past summer to help with my newsletter, podcast, and some of the initiatives we have going. And I've just learned so much, whether that's about how this world's changing from and I really look at marketing, right? Because I feel like it changes every day and every kind of season. This whole idea of building communities, right? Whether it's on Substack, whether it's on Discord, these different ways of A, using technology, but B, bringing people together and sharing this knowledge, I think is like a sea change in how things are being done. And it's been crazy for me to see how, Ibra, hopefully he's on the call, but he's one of our new interns, has helped me understand and shape my kind of knowledge around this topic, because it's so important, right? And it's a different way of communicating, which I think is going to take us to a different place, right? Which means brands and anyone else who's kind of building their own content creation ecosystem or a way of doing work, it changes. And I think this kind of goes back to some of what Lynn was saying in terms of having a structured process behind your program. How do you create the right kind of environment for interns to succeed, but also learn and kind of fail on the way? That's definitely almost a question, I guess. We could pull back the llama up for that one.
Wait, say that. Pull back the llama. I tend to only do that to myself. Like I feel bad doing that for clients. So wait, here, I've got one for you. Hold on one second. What did you say?
Yes,
actually,
thank you.
That was supposed to be when something was really good. It was supposed to be like, wait, what did you say? So, I love that you're, what?
I just said it works for both. I think it's perfect.
I love that you're already now bringing interns in. And what I wonder, and talking about what you've learned. And so what have you, because it's such a two-way street, I'm wondering for each of you, something that you've learned from the other. So I'm going to actually go around and have everyone do that. I'll start with Lynn, and then I want you, because it seems like we know that in internships that you're supposed to learn something about the work world. But Lynn, what's something that you've learned from your interns?
What I've learned is that they can teach me. And I welcome the opportunity to switch roles. So notice it's you teach me, I teach you. Because the more we help each other, the more everybody gains in terms of ability to not only do the job, but to learn from each other, because there's no one person who's the source of all knowledge. And if we dispel that myth, then everybody comes out of it much stronger, especially during COVID. We've all been working virtually. I have to tell you, we're going to have our first reunion later in July. I haven't met some of my interns in over 2 summers, never met. And so now we're going to be really excited to meet each other. And the beauty about what we've been able to do is we've all been able to teach each other. And I'm forever grateful for that.
Okay. And thank you to everyone who's here watching live. You clearly have a fan club through your internship program. So it's really fantastic. And the way that you've built community with it, it seems like all of you actually are all connected so well to each other. So Lily, what's something that you've learned in particular that you value in your work with Lynn?
One of the most valuable lessons that Lynn has taught me is to just say yes. So when an opportunity arises, there can't be hesitation. If you have any inkling of interest, you should just go for it. When we have our weekly meetings every day, Lynn doesn't give assignments. She just tells us the projects that we have to do. And it's up to us to kind of divvy that up amongst ourselves. Like, who is interested in writing the newsletter? Who is interested in working on the website? Who wants to give a presentation for this big university? It's all up to us to work together and say yes to the things that we want to do. That's how I got to write the press release for this very show, because I'm interested in writing. So I said yes to that and worked on pushing that out there. So definitely saying yes.
I love that idea. And that one is one, I got to tell you, that's brilliant, and that you're learning it now, because sometimes it's like, even if you're not sure how you're going to do it, you say yes, and then it puts you in that position to have to deliver. And yes, that opens up so many opportunities. So that's brilliant that you're sharing that. Fiona, what about you?
Yeah, so something that Lynn has encouraged me to do throughout the work that we participate in is just asking myself, like, what's my superpower? You know, what can I offer that is unique to me? I mean, we all can provide our own unique perspective. Not everyone sees things the way you do. And I think, once again, like, collaborating and having a mentor that reminds me and draws that out of me, I think has been so important. So I think for certain people, like, are you more strong in more analytics based work? Are you a wizard at research? Are your communication skills really high? I know emotional intelligence, EQ, is one of those power skills for 2021. Everyone's talking about, understanding emotional meanings and their implications in both professional and personal relationships. And I think that, having conversations with Lynn each morning, having that check-in with everyone, with all the other interns, all 7 of us on the call, and then being able to reconnect with her later on in the day and really go over specific things that I'm able to do and contribute. So like I mentioned previously, I've been writing the newsletter each week. And one of my favorite things to do is to find a quote that relates to the content or a visual. Lynn and I both love taking photos when we're out together. We're constantly looking for visuals that are engaging and that encourage people to read our content. So yeah, the idea of superpower.
Yeah, what's your superpower?
I think for me, so I'm a communications major. I love talking to people. I love talking to people. I have a journalism background. So anytime I'm in the presence of someone who actively inserts themselves in the interviewing process, I'm always have very much admiration for that. So that's why I love the work that you do, Deanna.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So I love checking in with Lynn. I love the one-on-ones with her. I think the collaboration is wonderful, and I'm able to get a really good idea of the other interns and the work that they're doing and how I can help out with them. But I think the one-on-ones with Lynn have been so meaningful for me, and being able to get a good idea about how she's feeling about what the priorities should be for the day, for the week. Yeah, and recently Lynn and I met in person for the first time.
For the first time. And you put a lot of time when you're talking about morning meetings with everybody. So there must be a good return on investment for the amount of time that you're investing basically in the internship management.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, for sure, because when you think about it, the initial part is intense in terms of time commitment, not only to everybody as a group and to everybody individually. On the other hand, times 7, the output that they give, there's no way I could do any of that myself. My colleague Falguni, Sean, myself, we're busy running the business, recruiting for talent, and everybody contributes in a way to elevate our brand, to get word out.
Oops, I don't know if that's me or Lynn that just froze.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it just froze for a second.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead
good?
and do and Claire's here. Thank you, everyone, for all of your great comments and feedback. So Lynn is getting unfrozen. I will go ahead from our experience, like working with Sid or with interns. So Sid literally at the time, this was 5 years ago, and I had a client who's like, I have to be on Instagram, and I'm like, a la Lily, absolutely, we'd be happy to help you with that. And I'm like, Sid, what do I do? So so actually Sid came on. It was funny. We did a joint call where Sid, and you were so respectful. That's what I loved so much, because at no point did Sid say, Deanna has no idea, so I'm taking the lid. He did a lot of like we and stuff like that. So it really just was very natural. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have my subject matter expert here on Instagram on our call. So it was fabulous. And also along those lines of saying yes, Sid and I have stayed in touch, because when I've had a couple tech challenges, hooking up a new client, something wasn't working. And I know it was not like the big creative thing, but Sid would save the day by helping. I have a drone technology client where we had to get them hooked up on everything in Hootsuite. And he's like, yeah, I can do it. And now what's interesting, I said this to Sid before we started. Now Sid motivates me because I'm jealous, because he did just recently with his new newsletter. He's said you've made the decision to really be authentic, to not try to use your marketing voice, but to really speak from the heart. And so you've been sharing some really true, like, I guess, authentic stories about challenges that you faced as you've been building your career. But that authenticity is amazing tone in your newsletter. And it's really inspiring because I like it so much. I'm like, I can do that too. So you continue to inspire me.
Well, thank you. And kind of to close the loop on kind of what I've learned, whether it's from you or from other interns, is really thinking long term. I think as we're all on this podcast with Deanna, like, she set this up, and I think you have an amazing mind for systems and like processes. And I think that is something I brought with me like throughout life and throughout my career, and is now even more kind of accentuated with the intern I'm working with. You know, he's kind of helped me think very long term about everything that needs to get done, whether that's a newsletter, a podcast, any of this. And it's like, today doesn't matter, right? Like the hook and like the sinker, that's great. You found someone who wants to be on your newsletter, but really like those open rates are not the main metric to me anymore. It's about how many people are commenting back and saying, hey, this actually like changed how I'm thinking about things. And the same applies for internships. Like, I think the more time I've spent onboarding and having the time to just one-on-one understand the person before we even dive into the work and talk about like how we're going to make this come to life, that's helped me understand how iterative the process really is. And, you know, nothing really happens overnight. It's a matter of, you know, making those long-term milestones and bridging those gaps for your clients, for your own projects, whatever that might be. So that's kind of the lesson I've taken away.
And it sounds like with everything I've been saying, Lynn, you could probably do like a whole webinar or process on how to set up internship programs. I know you do that at Depaul, and I think Lily and Fiona are both going to be speaking at that. So we're going to jump. I can't believe this happens every time. We're already 30 minutes in. I'm so grateful for everyone who's watching, and it's the huge fan club. That's why I feel like you got to build something on this. Like, it's there, but wow. So we've got two things that we want to do. The first one is our flash exercise. All right. So our flash exercises, I always like to do, actually Sid is also a fitness person. I don't know if everyone else is. I'm a certified fitness instructor as well. People learn and remember things differently. So I always like to do an interpretive aerobics exercise that relates to the theme of what we do. I'm going to invite everyone to do it with me, but I have a secret, which is this move is so big that I was afraid I couldn't do it at my desk. So I invited my friend Linda to do this for us. So
Yes, Linda.
So let me show it to you first, and then we'll decide if we want to do it. So this is called a star jump. All right, ready?
I love it.
All right. So can anyone guess why the star jump would be the one that we'd want to do? Oh,
Star jumps for
wait.
star interns.
Oh my God. Yes, exactly. Because that's amazing because interns are like the star of the show. And so absolutely, that's the star jump. If you want to try it, can we just try it for a second? You can stand up at your desk. For people, if you have to do it seated, you can actually make the star move from your seat. All it is a big circle with the arms. Your arms and legs come out at the same time. Now, if you're doing it, I feel like somebody's going to get hurt here, but so it's a jump. I'm actually in a dress, not in tennis shoes. But it's a big jump wide like that. I like it. Okay. What's hilarious is that Sid's doing it now too. I was going to say it's hilarious that it's Lynn and I that are doing it because we know that we couldn't survive without our interns and that you guys are the stars. So that was our star jump. The next thing that I want to do, let's see if I hope this is not someone hurting themselves. Oh, I love that. The star jump is one of the happiest moves. So, and again, another Falguni, another intern talking about how wonderful the program is. So, staff. Okay. Oh, fantastic. So we know that all of you are multifaceted and it's so hard to get how amazing you are in such a short period of time. And so that's why I introduced the flash photo stories. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get a production intern to actually use sort of music thing. So it's not just me singing that, although I kind of like doing that, but let's go ahead and bring in our photos. And so this was the first one. I put these side by side because obviously this was something that Fiona, you and Lynn did together. So what is this?
Yeah, so we're holding kind of archetypal cards. Lynn is a huge fan of interactive tools, so that gets people excited and their hands on something that they can like look at and relate to and connect with. So she has a deck of cards that have various identities and various like imagery. And the first time I ever met her this day, she invited me to flip through the deck and to choose 3 that resonated with me. So I'm holding a card that says networker, seeker, and guide. So those 3 words for me, they definitely define my experience working with Lynn. So for me, networking, meeting people in the industry and being able to understand the work that they do has been a huge part of my inspiration within the internship. And guide, for me, now the next step in my internship, training the next generation of interns, whether it be for the newsletter or creating content for the website, that guide role is something that I'm really trying to adopt fully.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then Lynn, you did the same thing. So you had each of the interns pick. What are your 3 cards?
Well, my 3 cards were mentor, storyteller, and pioneer. So the mentor goes without saying. I'm a professional storyteller, and everything I do and I teach is via story, because if you make it sticky in the brain and in the heart, people will remember. And what's so interesting about being a recruiter is that we're always forward looking in terms of what's trending, where the new hires are going to be, and we pioneer new programs, new workshops, new seminars, and new areas to recruit in as well. So this is the first time Fiona and I ever met live. I still haven't met any of my other interns from this year, but that will come at our reunion later this month. Here's
fun. And Lily, so our flash photo stories, I love it because it's a 2-minute story on a flash photo. Lily, what's happening here?
So this is actually taken in the same location where I'm sitting right now. I'm sitting at my desk. This is a virtual internship. As Lynn said, we haven't met in person, so hopefully soon. But yeah, I've really learned how to adapt and navigate this virtual landscape. So I just chose a picture of myself working on the computer, sitting at my desk.
Fantastic. That's amazing, actually, how much can be done now virtually. So And Fiona, oh no, this is Lily again. What's this one?
So I'd say that half of my time is probably spent on the computer, but then the other half, I definitely like to take walks outside. This was taken just after I got my second dose of my vaccine, actually. So here I am dancing outside. Happy that hopefully we can move forward. It's still definitely a difficult time, but finding moments of joy in between.
I love the idea of moments of joy. Sid, I know I have another Fiona here. I think I put it at the end. Sid, what's this one?
So this is me halfway up Mount Fuji. I went there with like 5 of my friends, and it was funny. We just kind of snuck this in on the last day because we were like running out of steam. But that trip in general, it just reminds me of like really taking it all in, and going back to what Lily was saying really about saying yes and figuring it out on the way. Like, we had to understand how Japan worked, whether it was like the railway system and Shinkansen and some of the just areas. But we all just went in with the mindset of like, we're going to own every moment of this. And my sleep definitely is not thanking me for it, but all the experiences we had and the people we met were just life-changing. And if I talk about what Lynn was talking about in terms of broadcasting the future, I think there's so much to be learned from just immersing yourself in a different culture and seeing how the world works there.
Oh, for sure. And what about this one?
This one, I kind of took a cheat here, but this hangs up on my wall. It's a quote by Jack Vanek. And it's basically, if I had to summarize it, it's basically about just, once again, soaking it all in and realizing that the good and the bad are all parts of the experience and the human experience. So we're a collective of all of that. So it's about like understanding that, you know, anything that you are being exposed to and being very curious ends up paying off, because that is ultimately what we're here for. Mm-hmm. And it helped me kind of discover my purpose, at least.
Yeah. What's kind of fun about that, tying it together, is if we take Fiona's like don't be afraid to manifest your superpower, Lily's say yes, and being fully present, like it really, I'm excited, like, you know, to really live life to the fullest and embrace every learning that you can. So Fiona, what's this one?
Yeah, so as you can see, this is Lynn and I together for the first time. We had a lot of fun together. I think you can probably tell. But it was so surreal after 7 months, Lynn being such a constant in my life, waking up each weekday and having conversations with her and working with her, to finally be able to be face to face. And I think I'm a pretty tall woman, standing at 5'11", and meeting.
How old are you? Said 5'11"?
5'11", yeah.
That is so funny. I've only seen you seated. I would not have guessed that. That's because we are shorter when we sit. That is impressive.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock for Lynn to realize, me giving her a hug, she's a foot shorter than me, and it was just so funny to be like, oh my goodness, we always see each other from, you know, the waist up, and
right.
Who knows how tall I am. But seeing Lynn face to face was such a joyous experience. Like, we did a little photo shoot. I met one of Lynn's neighbors, and
that's so fun.
Yeah, it was so lovely just to sit across the table from one another and chat and catch up, and we shared a meal together, and it was wonderful. So I'm very thankful.
That is great. And Lynn, we're finishing up one more from you. What is this? Transform yourself.
Well, one of the things, you can't see it right now, but I have this fabulous butterfly. And what it's all about to me, the internship program is a transformational experience, because like butterflies, we all emerge changed. And going through the internship program is very much that kind of a quality. We're the relationship recruiters. We work with our talent, our interns, and we go through a transformational process together. And we come out magnificent. And so I am very honored to have all these interns become part of my personal and my professional life.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's obviously it sticks with the number of people that are here today and all of the love that's being poured out for you in the program. It's really incredible. And inspiring. I think a lot of people would probably like to learn from you how you set that up and systematize it. Sid said, I like systems. I do like systems. You know, the thing with interns is that you can try to systemize it, but it's people. You know, it's people that you're connecting with, and that you thankfully we're not systematizing people. You know?
Right.
So it's wonderful that you do that. I'm going to do one last quick fire round, which is, what is your spark? That thing that in like 1 or 2 words, what do you think that spark is that drives you to spark change in the world? So I'm going to go, I've got you on screen. I'm going to go, what is it? Clockwise, starting with Sid. What's your spark?
Oh gosh, I was hoping I wouldn't have to go first. I think in the absence of everything else,
unless Lily wants to save you and jump in.
Sid, I think it's all you.
I mean, the first thing that came to mind was writing. I think I found my spark in being able to communicate with others and also be influenced by others, right? Reading other people's work has become this like way of really just diving into their life and understanding what they've been through and been challenged by. And my way of doing that is broadcasting the same to the world, right? And letting people know about my story and how they might relate to it or be able to do something with that. Yeah, that's kind of my spark.
Mm-hmm. Right. And Lily, what about you?
I would say that my spark is kind of broad, but I would say filling the gap. I think that one of the things that drives me, not only in my internship, but in my personal life, my professional life, my academic life, is finding places where things could be better and figuring out how we can move it to that place.
I love that. And Fiona?
Yeah, so I mentioned before that I have a journalism background, and I know for me, anytime I'm conversing with someone that's speaking on their passions, that's talking about something that they've been working on that excites them, seeing that spark within someone else, I'm always wanting to be around that person. I want to learn more from them and I want to collaborate. So I think looking forward, I'd love to participate in more interviews and taking that to the next level by writing, news write-ups and hopefully sharing that with others. So others' inspirations can be heard and shared. So I'm looking forward to starting that process.
Thank you. And Lynn, what's your spark?
It's a debate between connector and creative, because I integrate both of them so much into who I am and everything that I do. I love meeting people and say, "Oh, you're perfect for this job." And they look at me, "Really?" Go, yep. I'm going to place you in this job. And the creative part of me is always going. I'm always coming up with new ideas, writing them down. How about this? How about that? And it keeps me going because that spark of creativity is part of what keeps me alive and keeps my processes. Like I came up with a new idea in the last few weeks, the word of the day. I start every meeting with our interns. Today's word of the day is, and then it helps us focus on that topic. And I love just coming up with ideas. It keeps me going. And I love passing that on also.
Well, thank you all so much for spending time with us this morning. Thank you for bringing your fan clubs with you. Everyone had like the fan club, the fan club with people supporting you, which actually just affirms how much all of you are bringing to the, I love it, the butterfly. It just affirms how much all of you are bringing to the world and how you're connecting and engaging with each others. So I'm going to end our show. Don't go anywhere and we'll say goodbye. But thank you all so much. And thank you everyone who turned in today. We loved your enthusiasm and comments and affirmations of how powerful the internship programs can be. So thank you for joining us on Intercultural Spark. Go.